Hey everyone, I am back for another solo podcast for myself. And you can always remember that Mitch and I will be on later today to record another podcast. But for this one, I wanted to do another dive into the Flyers and their playoffs hopes and everything else going on in the NHL right now. So to start off, as I last said, I went to that Vegas game the other night, and they looked good for the most part. It just kind of went back and forth, and of course, like usual, the penalty kill was not going for us that night, and they scored twice. And again, that seems to be our downfall is just trying to find or just trying to kill it off and try to get that improved, which it seems we have games where, like in Winnipeg, where they seem very dominant, and then games like Vegas where they just score, where they just can't seem to, or where they looked good and then they just scored twice. And that second goal they scored on the power play, they just I could have seen coming just looking at the personnel that was on the ice. Then outside of Couturier, he can only do so much. But when you have Laterra, Filppula, and Laterra, Manning, and McDonald out there, it's not going to end up well. And they obviously took advantage of that and scored. So that's obviously a point of emphasis for the Flyers, as it's been all season, which I don't know what else has to be other than maybe LaPerriere's head on the chopping block this season, but who knows what's going to happen there, because they keep trying many different players and everything just to help it improve. Even Drew's gotten back onto the PK at times, and they've even put Gudis and Provorov together. They've tried so many different setups and everything, and it just doesn't seem to be working, or it seems to always end up goals against and not really going well for us. The Flyers are now 30th in the NHL in the PK at 74.7%. That's not good. If you really want this team to succeed in the playoffs, which who knows, even if we make it at this point, but it's just your special teams have to do so much for you, and it's just not doing very well for the Flyers. And who knows, they can very well fall to last. They're that close to Edmonton for being last in the PK by literally 0.1%. And that's not good. That is not a bright spot for this team. And I don't know what else has to be done for that to improve, other than maybe a change at coaching, or I don't know. They've tried so many different things there, and it's just not going well. But going forward, however, their schedule's still a little challenging. They still have to play Pittsburgh and Washington and Boston one more time, but other than that, their schedule isn't too difficult. It's definitely one where they could possibly fall out if they don't turn things around, or if they start losing games again. Then we could be falling behind Columbus and getting that first wildcard spot instead of the third in the Metro, which, who knows, I wouldn't really want to play Tampa Bay. It would still be a fun series, don't get me wrong, but that's not what I want. That's not what anyone should want, to go against one of the best team, I should say, in the NHL right now. and Tampa Bay. And even that game a couple weeks ago, where they lost in the shootout, it was a game where Vasilevsky was not at his best, and our defense and goaltending just kind of didn't show that night. And maybe they'll change once Elliott gets back, but who knows? It would. I still think it would be a fun series, fast paced and everything, but outside of that, it's just it could be a quick series. Let's be honest here. You never know how that's gonna go. I know we took one game from this season, but in our season series against them, and we could easily go 5 games, maybe 6, but I don't know. Against Tampa Bay, a team that looks very dominant, and who just got better on the blue line after the trade deadline with McDonough. I don't know. Hopefully they can string some wins together here and kind of come back. But I'm also going to the game on Thursday against Columbus. That should be another good one. 2 teams fighting for that third spot in the Metro, and who knows, if the Flyers fall, they could fall behind them, and that's who knows what'll happen there. I hope it comes out in the Flyers' favor. It's been a fun season series against the 2 teams. Both teams being fast, physical, all around fun, exciting hockey between them. Also, to go back to when you're watching the game live, can people stop shouting shoot all the time? We get the Flyers tend to be passive a lot. Even Konechny had one opportunity where he passed it, had a great opportunity to shoot and just passed it backwards. I don't know why. We get they need to shoot more, but there was just this woman behind me that just kept saying it no matter where they were on the ice. I'm just like, there's a guy right in front of him. If he shoots here, she's shooting it right at his skate. It's going to get blocked. So what's the point of shooting it there? And what I also find funny is she said it again right before the Simmons goal. And in my mind, I'm like, don't shoot here. Just don't listen to her. And then he goes beyond the net, and Simmons shoots, and he scores over Fleury's shoulder. I'm like, see, that's why you didn't shoot there. I don't know. That's just something that just kind of bugs me. It's like, they need to shoot more, and it's definitely a passive team, but don't have to keep saying it every time they have the puck in the offensive zone. Just shoot. Because most of the time, they're trying to set up a play so they can actually try to score. So just shooting randomly, and once you get past the blue line, it isn't going to help much. Because either the goalie's going to see it, or it'll get blocked, and they're going back the other way. So either way, you just let them set up the play, and then there you go, and good things will start to happen. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I just find that annoying. Also, the Philly and Dilly stuff, I just find very annoying. Like, I don't think it's funny. I find whoever made that ad campaign should be fired. Like, it's dumb. It's not funny. It's not clever. It's dumb. And I just hate it. I hate it with a burning passion. I really do. It's the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever. But going back to that game, I don't know if anyone else noticed, but near the end, when they were down again, or down with like a couple minutes left, did anyone else notice the young people line that they threw out there? They put Provorov, Sanheim, uh, Lindblom, Patrick, and who else was it? I think Couturier. But they had like this really young lineup. I'm just like, whoa, what's this? What's this lineup doing out there? It's like a young people line. It's just was weird to see, and just wow. Wouldn't have thought they would or Hextall would have that much confidence going in to just have those guys out there with down a goal and to try to tie it up. Now, granted, it probably could have just been so they can have Drew and Voracek and all them get some rest, which is obviously possible because they were shortly bench after they had it successfully in the zone and it was frozen. They quickly changed the lines and put the typical players you'd see out there, like Simmons and Voracek, like I just mentioned. But I just find it interesting that it just makes you think of how close it is that some of these prospects are of coming up. Like Sanheim had a great opportunity at one point in the game and got rubbed by Fleury's glove. Lindblom keeps having many opportunities to just get 8 points, and it's gonna come. Hopefully, well, definitely. Don't see him not getting a point at the end of the season. By the end of the season, that just doesn't seem likely with how he's been playing, and obviously he has the approval of Hextall and his confidence in him to keep playing him on the second line because he obviously sees what everyone else sees and how well he's been playing, even though he hasn't put up any points. And I mentioned this to a friend the other day, was that he's kind of like Raffle at the beginning of the season where he wasn't putting up any points but was doing good. Granted, he's had more opportunity. Lindblom has had more opportunities than Raffle did at the beginning of the season to put up points and setting up plays. But still, I find that interesting that another player this season has had difficulty just finding a single point. And it should come because he has been great. That whole line has been, every time they're on the ice, it just seems they're always setting up plays and creating chances. Konechny, I think, was the other person on that line. Not thinking of it. Not Couturier. Sorry. But yeah, that just him as a player. I just like when he was first brought down at the beginning of the season, I was a little. I didn't really like the move that much. Sending him down to the AHL, I thought he was deserving, but obviously it helped him that time on the Phantoms because he is playing great. Like at the beginning of the season, he was kind of struggling a little bit trying to find this game, but it wasn't probably until late November, early December where he started coming out and putting up points, and it just kept continuing, and it obviously led to his call up, which was needed. I like the move that Hextall made to put him in the lineup. He has definitely earned it. And same with Sanheim, but Sanheim's another story where he's most likely going to be sent down after the season. Or not after the season, after Haig or Oduya come back. Probably more so Haig, but both of them, Oduya and Haig, practiced today. So we'll have to see on that one, on what happens there. So at least they skated. I don't really know how much they practiced. But you guys kind of know that he's probably going to get sent down. But once those two guys come back, I don't know what he shouldn't, because he's obviously like Carter Hart and the juniors. He's playing in the league that he shouldn't be in, because he's just dominant. Which then obviously leads me to my next point in Carter Hart and how dominant he has been this year, and really since probably the past 2 years, maybe I would say. And just how his numbers have looked great. He's astonishing numbers, and it's obvious that he's too good for the league he's in. And you saw in the World Juniors, he helped Canada. He is obviously next season he's going to be on the Phantoms. I don't see a possibility of him being on the Flyers at all with Elliott and Neuver, and I don't know what's going to happen with Mrazek if we even resign him. When you first got him, I thought, well, maybe because he was playing great. Those first couple games after we acquired him, but then after that he just kind of fell off a little, and that could be because the workload, and he was getting tired. He looked pretty good the other night, and against Vegas, and in Winnipeg too. I would say that extra game off probably helped, and I think Hextall has to be smart in how he places goaltenders going forward, whether it's not just having a Lyon in after a back-to-back game series, playing in the back half of one. It just doesn't seem right, and that's just how he gets hurt, and that just seems to be how Hextall's thing is, and that's why I think Elliott got hurt is because he played so much, and also for a reason why I believe Neuvirth got hurt, because he was sitting on the bench for so long, and when you sit on the bench for so long, I feel once you get that one playtime in, and with his injury history, obviously, it was possible that being out for so long and finally getting into a game, that injury was possible, and it obviously happened. Now, granted, they're both expected to, or there's a possibility of both of them coming back by the end of the season. And I did see yesterday on Twitter that Elliott was skating, not really to take anything out of that, just he was skating around. He didn't have any padding on. He just literally skated around with his stick in hand. But which could be a good sign. It means that he's he's getting back, or slowly getting healthier after his surgery. Another news that came out since the last time I spoke to you was Stolar's going to the ECHL as a rehab sort of assignment thing, which I find kind of I guess astonished would be the right word, that he is playing again. I didn't think he would play at all this season, and seeing how he's definitely going to probably come back this season, it could be huge for the Phantoms and their playoff hopes, as they have been another team that they've been dominant, and which is great for the Flyers going forward, because that just shows one, that their prospects are doing good, and not just in the Phantoms, but just in general. If you look around, even like player like Morgan Frost, who we drafted last draft, who has been great, and if you haven't seen his goal from the other night, you should look that up on Twitter or Google it. It was definitely a highlight reel goal. But he's definitely one that should be up in no time. He's been a great player in juniors this season. And just in general, everything just kind of looks great prospect-wise for the Flyers. Rupstoff, after this season, will then join the Phantoms because he'll be of age to be eligible to play for the Phantoms. But he should be good. We just need to get him warmed up so we can have him as like a third center, or just we need another center just because after this season, I don't think Filppula is coming back. I don't see any way the Flyers re-sign Filppula. Filppula has definitely this season, if nothing else, shown his age. And his numbers and everything, he just plummeting. He looks slow. He's just hasn't looked good at all this season. And I think you could easily just put Lawton, who I think has completely had a turnaround after his last stint coming up with the Flyers. I think he's improved greatly. I think last year, spending the whole year in the Phantoms, helping him develop his defensive game really helped him. And I think he's, for the time being, earned a third center spot, which, of course, if you don't re-sign Filppula, that leaves another spot open for a center, and I don't think Rupstoff will be ready yet for that center, and I don't think Hextall would want him as a fourth line center. There's always Vecchione. He could always come up, or who knows, maybe they'll sign some veteran to a short deal just so they can plug him in. Or even Laterra. Laterra is a center. They could always move him over to center, which I don't know how people would feel about that one, because people are already not too big of fans of Laterra, even though of late he has, I didn't really notice some the other night against Vegas, but he has looked in his way better, more noticeable, and not just a terrible way. Like we said on our first podcast, Mitch and I, just this weird sort of stint where he just looks kind of good. He looks okay for him. And that's just another thing Flyers fans have criticized Hextall on, was that trade, because they just see it as like a Shen for Laterra thing. And it wasn't. We obviously got Frost out of that deal, and Frost has been killing it. And by the time he comes up, you'll see why Hextall made that move. It was at the time being. Now it's not looking, and everyone's seeing that. Hey, look, Shen's having another great year, and Laterra's doing terribly. But it wasn't just those two players. Once Frost comes up, you'll see why that Flyers, or why they made that move, and why it was smart. And really, with the Flyers, Shen was only doing well because of the power play. That's where most of his points came from. Or in garbage time, he would get a goal. Which, I mean, that spot seems to be that Shen spot, which used to be the Hartnell spot, which is now the Couturier taking his spot, seems to be, it doesn't matter who they really plug in there, it just, they always seem to end up doing really well and scoring, even though Couturier has seems to be in sort of a slump of late, still stuck on that 29, trying to get that 30. But that doesn't take away from a career year he's had and just how great he's been all around. And I think he should be someone that is definitely going to see his minutes increased once the playoffs start. Him and Provorov and Ghost. Most likely just Provorov. I don't know about Ghost. Maybe Ghost. Well, Ghost has earned the minutes, so he's probably been our best defenseman this year. That's nothing taken away from Provorov, and you could probably say maybe he's helps him look better, but I think all around both of them have made each other look better. Even in those few mistakes that Provorov has made with turning the puck over or poor passes or whatever, Ghost has been good at getting him out of it. The first pair has definitely been solid since being put together, and you just kind of wonder why it took so long for Haxtell to put the two of them together, just because they both seem to feed off each other, and it just seems that whole first unit, if you want to say, from the Couturier line and the Ghost Provorov pair, that just a stellar first. But if anything, in the I think we said this on our podcast the other day, just how the Penguins, if you face the Penguins, and the Penguins can be just kind of realize the lack of depth that the Flyers currently have, and just stacking them all up, it just isn't going well for them right now. And I think I don't know what's going to happen with them. I think I still believe where they are now, third in the Metro, is where they're going to be. And it's probably going to be them against the Penguins. And if it's us against the Penguins, then I think we might be screwed, people. I'm sorry, but I don't think the team stacks up depth-wise against the Penguins. And if anything, this past season has shown it, has seen that, or has shown it with how their defenses, or how their lines have just hasn't been able to shut them down at all. But I think I'm gonna stop it or finish off there today. Thanks for listening. Michael Whitmer signing off. You can follow me on all my social media, and Mitch and I should be shooting or doing another podcast relatively soon. So I'll see you then, most likely.